Just imagine, you get stuck in an unknown room without food and water, and it becomes almost impossible to get out of there. Something similar happens in our today's story, when a man woke up in the morning after drinking alcohol all night. He felt a severe headache. It started happening. He was horrified to see a dead rat lying right next to him. Soon he realized that he was imprisoned in a room like a safe with an iron door and a cupboard. All the flies were making pens around him. Some of them were busy filling their stomachs with dead rats. After this, the man looked at the clock and saw that it was 9 in the morning. He tried hard to open the iron door, but to no avail. He started banging on the door. He started shouting, but there was no response from outside. He had no idea as to when and how he reached this room. After some time, he started feeling pressure to urinate, and now he had to go to the washroom very forcefully. At first, he thought that someone had made a joke with him. He was feeling that this work belonged to a man named Fletchering, who used to work with him. He jokingly said that he would fire him from the job as soon as he came out. But after some time passed, he realized that outside there was no trace of Key's presence. He took out his phone from his pocket and called Fletcher, but there was no signal. This simply meant that he had completely lost contact with the outside world. He tried to find the iron cupboard in the room, tried to open it, but it was also completely closed. Walking into the room, he tried to find the hidden camera, but there was nothing there. Now he was not able to understand anything, and gradually his irritability started turning into anger. He shouted loudly at his colleagues, but he started shouting out of anger, took off his belt, and started banging the iron door. After some time, he stopped because he had not eaten anything for a day. He shouted that if he was not thrown out, he would hand over everyone to the police. Still no response came from outside. A whole day had passed. Now he woke up from sleep and checked his phone. But the phone also slipped from his hand and fell down and broke. There was no food or water there, so he had to do something to stay alive. He took off his shoe and drank it out of compulsion due to loneliness and hunger. He was becoming crazy. Suddenly he saw Key in the tube light above him. He immediately broke the light and took out the key. With the help of that key, that iron cupboard opened, inside which he found not only 2 but 6 cans of pure oxygen and some tools like a hammer. He tried to break the iron door with the help of the tools, but there was not even a scratch on the door. He started burning the door with the wetting machine, but he was not able to use it. Seeing the eye of the welding gun, he got an idea. Using the eye, he made a plan to trigger a fire alarm so that he could get some water. But unfortunately, the alarm turned out to be fake. After this, he made a plan to break the lock of the door with a hammer, but the door was so strong that even Dai could not break it. Being extremely troubled by hunger and thirst, he started going into depression. To vent out his anger, he started banging the cupboard hard, but after some time, he again sat down quietly. Then he saw a hole in the wall. He immediately started breaking it with a hammer. He was trying to get out by making a tunnel there. Gradually, the oxygen level in the room decreased. This was happening, so he took pure oxygen. But then, due to the increase in the amount of oxygen in his body, he started feeling dizzy. He switched off the oxygen can, and his eyes fell on some insects on the dead rat. Now, to stay alive, he has to eat beer bills. He also had to eat insects. After the stomach puja, he continued the work of making the tunnel. After a lot of hard work, he made the hole bigger, and he started seeing the iron rods inside the wall. He cut those rods with the help of a welding gun and tried to break the wall. Continued. After some time, light started coming from there, seeing which he jumped with joy. Now the hole had become so big that he could go out of it. But as soon as he went beyond that wall, the ground slipped under his feet. He was not in the outside world, but had come to another room in the same way. All his hard work had gone waste. He became frustrated and started banging the iron door like a madman. After some time, he calmed down and looked around to see a red-colored coffin in one corner of the room. He carefully removed the lid of the coffin and found a beautiful girl inside. Her eyes opened wide. She didn't look dead, so she might have been sleeping deeply. When the man woke up the girl, she felt badly. She gets scared. When she tried to talk to him, she found out that they did not understand each other's language. The girl got scared and hid in her old room. The man had no strength left to explain anything to her, so he decided to get angry by sleeping in the coffin at night. But a girl who had been sleeping in the middle of the night came and woke him up. He signaled the man to continue the tunnel work, but due to hunger and thirst, it was impossible for him to do anything. for so many days while working. Her hands also got hurt, and now she was in dire need of rest. The girl herself picked up the tools and started digging the tunnel. But it was not that easy. After a while, she started urinating and went towards the other room. She ran, but the man stopped her there and started explaining something to her by pointing at her. Actually, she had not drank water for 3 days, and the girl's urine was precious to him. After a little hesitation, the girl agreed to his request and urinated in his shoes to save her life. She had to do this despicable thing, although the girl did not understand his language. But seeing the man, she had understood what would have to be done to survive here. Then the man started teaching her to eat insects, but she clearly refused to eat insects. After this, the man started working on making holes in the wall of that room, but it took a long time. Even after trying hard, he was able to make only a small hole. Seeing this, the girl started crying in disappointment. This was the word. Why is it not broken? How will it break? Ambuja, which is made of cement. The man calmed her down by singing a song, and that too she started coming along. But then by mistake the hammer hit the man's hand. The girl immediately took out her cloth and applied it on his wound. Within no time, they became friends, and both of them started digging together. Suddenly, the lock of the iron door clicked on its own. Both of them ran towards it, but the lock came back to the same place as before. After trying for a long time, they understood that as long as they kept banging on the door. Unfortunately, this was the same room where an empty grave was kept, and it had the same iron door as before. The girl showed wisdom and quickly picked up all the tools from the previous room. He also tried to open this door like before, but whatever he did, the door remained closed. Now he had no option left except digging a grave and making a tunnel. Now the man had no strength left in his body, and he got dizzy and fell down. The girl was still fine because she had not done that much work. Now fever started coming in the man's body. Then he realized the real desire of the person who imprisoned them. The man thought that he was going to imprison them. He wants to see both of them kill each other. So to get out, one of them will have to die. When was she kept in the room? The destination of one of them is to end all the trouble. To end all the trouble, the man thought of killing the girl, but he could not do it. Now all his hope and will to stay alive was gone. So he lay himself down in the grave and started waiting for death. The girl tried to keep him awake by slapping and punching him, but there was no movement in the man. She took him out of the grave and made him lie down on the ground and put him to sleep. Now she was also fed up, so she went to the door and started screaming, but not even a sound came from outside. Now she too could not see any way out. Finally, she quenched the man's thirst with her tears. If he dies, she too will not be able to survive for long. After some time, she started taking off her clothes, even in the state of unconsciousness. The man understood what she was doing due to the girl's touch. He too, Haka, remained awake. Somehow the girl kept him awake the whole night. When the man opened his eyes, he saw that the girl was sleeping next to him. He crawled to the other room and took the coffin. He removed the cloth and blew it on the girl. After this, he once again became unconscious due to weakness. Just then he heard the sound of the lock of the house. Both of them immediately got up and like last time. This time also both of them turned their backs towards the door and moved forward, started growing. Now the man had become so weak that he was not able to even walk on his own. The girl somehow supports him and takes him with her to the door. Suddenly this side opened and a very beautiful sight appeared before his eyes. The world outside the door was no less than a paradise. There were beautiful waterfalls. Both of them looked at each other and started smiling happily. After enduring so many difficulties, they finally found peace. We got such a beautiful ending that we lock you in a room, and if you get the key, do tell in the comments with whom do you want to be locked in the room.